Good day, hello, good morning, whatever time it is for you. Welcome to Hug Nation Live. I am John Halcyon Stin, coming to you live from San Diego, California, where it is cloudy and gorgeous. Mm, I am looking forward to sharing a little gratitude with you. I should acknowledge that while our intention here is to share gratitude and look for the bright spots and the yummy tasting things and the pretty smelling things and the inspiring things and the wonderful textures, all the little delights of life, and to remember and focus and share and stay conscious of the gift of being alive, that we are doing this task, this exercise within an arena filled with horror and confusion and collapse. So, bravo for keeping your head up, for holding space for suffering and joy, and doing your part in adding a little bit of light, a little bit of warmth, a little bit of love into the grand recipe, the grand saucepan that we are creating together. Welcome, Gerbot. Welcome, Steve. Welcome, Great Dead and Mrs. Gire. I listened to a Ram Dass lecture this morning. Man, that guy is consistently awesome. He told a story of his in his childhood, I believe, that went to a they had a meal, and this Italian chef cooked this meal, and someone in the family was like, "Oh, this is delicious. Could I have some more sauce?" And the chef goes, "Eat it like it is." And so his family, that was, something they would say to each other if somebody would complain. They would say, "Eat it like it is." And, and then he mentioned in the lecture that there's a book called The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment, and there's a chapter on "Love It As It Is," which I was like, "Oh, wow, this predates Byron Katie in her book, Loving What Is." And Loving What Is in Byron Katie's work, that work has been massively influential to me and my worldview and my psychological health. But I love the "eat it like it is." Learning to love reality as it is. I in this world where there is so much that so many places and people and reasons, of suffering and injustice, can you eat it like it is? How can you enjoy the meal? Can you love what is? If you can't, then you're gonna suffer. Ah, so as we eat it as it is, what are some of the tasty bites that we can share with each other each morning here on Nation Live? Hello, Halcyon, double L. Good morning, good day. Uh, Robot says, "Grateful for a second gathering of friends last night for Lunar New Year's." Man, those friends, that certainly makes it a lot of fun. The the reflections and the laughter, the inspiration, the experiencing more of what there is to be human through one of the lenses of our friends and family and trusted tellers of truth. Ah, it was also great in this lecture by Ram Dass. He begins by saying, like, just our world is collapsing, like, all these institutions are collapsing, This is a lecture that's like 20 years old, and he's like, "The Soviet Union's collapsing, the moral majority is falling apart, and corporate this is all these all the world that we know is all collapsing and falling apart," and I'm like, "Same as it ever was." You know, I just there's this, what's his name? Uh, Charles Eisenstein, um, he he just wrote this essay that really hammers and, like, look, this is the most we're living in the most significant breakdown of reality since JFK's assassination, like, where this collapse of the way the world was and what we thought was real and who was in control and what the power structure was, and that the the I mean, ch I don't know what to call it, the the intricate and far-reaching touch of this corruption, uh, is so vast, from Deepak Chopra to Noam Chomsky to presidents and, uh, preachers, everyone. It's just like the we are living in a time of massive the collapsing of this false reality. In his essay, he's saying it there's a possibility that in the collapse of this false reality is makes space for things that we've been suppressing. Like, our culture, there's things that we don't we don't make space for alternative energies. We don't or alternative healing or, uh, psychedelic healing. There's a lot of realms that fringe people are having success and but the structure that we put our faith and trust in has suppressed it. And so it's possible that in this vacuum could be a rebirth of a new reality that has incredible possibility. I mean, that's a very optimistic view, and, since this is a gratitude gathering, let's gather all the optimism we can. Let's see. Good morning, high noon. Hal Sion says, "My mother would say the point is to find a way to put your love forward and embody the action of it." Like that. Melissa says, "Grateful for a dinner date with my son last night. Played cards and chatted. Felt good to connect when the world gets too busy." Yes. Lisa has planned a trip to Idlewild for us this weekend. We're gonna be joined by my brother and sister-in-law, and our agenda is hike and play cards and talk. Because in my at this point in my life, that is the highest echelon of experience is connection and presence and appreciation of the planet and the people. Halston says, "What matters is evolving one's humanity to being then existing in a world where people are hurted." And that was one of the part of the what was so great about this Ram Dass lecture is, you know, whether it was the collapses of 20 years ago or today, that the spiritual journey is the same. The spiritual journey of letting go of your something. I'm somebody, letting go of I am somebodyness into I am the oneness, and then the warrior path is being both. I am experiencing my humanity, I'm experiencing my my independence and the joys of relationship, as well the suffering of others, and knowing that that is also me too, and being in that state of I am all, and I am all, and my ego is nothing, while also being like, I am an entity in this vast world. He says it much better. Seriously, that guy, when in doubt. Have I mentioned that I own Ram Dass's picnic basket? If you've been to a retreat with me, I sometimes break it out. I have a picnic basket that was a birthday present for Ram Dass. It still has the card in it that says, "Dear Ram Dass," and it was gifted to Ram Dass. He then left it at someone's home, and that person passed it on, and then that person gave it to me. Terry says, "I would like to put my arms around the Keller family up in Oregon." Halcyon says, "Too often we live in our idea of something, codependently too, not in the actuality of being here and now." Very true. I think it I mean, part of being a human uh, is be is being a part of a a you have to choose, what reality you're going to be in. There's you have to choose some beliefs, you have to, because to be in a fully non-dual state of spiritual oneness, I think is to sacrifice the human experience, and I think that we're here to have a human experience, and part of having that human experience is some of that codependence, some of that humanness, some of the feelings and emotions and struggles of humanness. I think the goal is to play it like you're playing the game of, uh, recreational soccer, you know? No one there's no it's have fun, try to win, get better, play with your teammates, but don't panic if the other teams if you get scored on. But really, I think that maybe the game is a bad metaphor because I feel like, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Here we go. There we are. Okay. Just wanna make sure that I'm still live. Um, I'm a big believer, like, there Ram Dass also tells a story of him talking to this channeled entity of Emmanuel. If you're familiar with, like, Bashar or someone like that, there's throughout the last 100 years, there's been many of these of people who channel entities and, uh, have these profound truths and often overlap. Some of them talk about, alien races and things, but and that part doesn't resonate as much with me, but some of the things are really hit me deeply, but Emmanuel said when Ram Dass was like, "What do I do? Like, what should I do here? Like, how do I transcend this ugly human experience? How do I" and and Emmanuel is like, "You're here having a human life. Take the curriculum. You're in a classroom, take the curriculum. All the dirty ugliness, the awkwardness of it, that's why you're here. Take the curriculum." And I really believe that to be true, that the world is not a something broken that needs to be fixed. The world is a classroom. The world is a gymnasium, and as we practice loving, as we practice healing ourselves, as we build these muscles of spiritual strength, of love, that I believe is relevant to what happens before and after life in the human body consciousness. So, as the world feels like everything's falling apart, that's just someone putting another plate on the bar. That's your trainer saying, "You're strong enough. You can do this. Let's do this." And the goal is not to, you know, in a gym, the goal is to get all the weights off the ground. There's heavy weights everywhere because you need the heavy weights to build your muscles. And this world has got injustice and trauma and suffering because that's the heavy weight of the spiritual workout that is the human curriculum. And so while we're in the gym, it's so great to have gym buddies like you. And why not laugh and have a good time at the gym and uh, share this wild ride and enjoy it together. It's funny that I use that metaphor. It's been a long time since I've been to the gym. In fact, Lisa this morning went to the gym. She's like, "Come on, come with me," and I'm like, "No, no." Ah, Terry says, "I choose the reality of love." My my AI glasses just responded. Suzanne says, "I am grateful for being alive today. My joints are hurting, but that reminds me my medication to make my breast cancer stay away is working. I'm behind on laundry, but that just means I did other things instead, mostly fun things. My refrigerator is full, which means I have good food to put into my body to make it healthy. It's going to snow today. I dislike it intensely, but the farmers all across Nebraska need the snow. I'm starting today by doing what I just did above, trying to reframe all my struggles into opportunities and all my dislikes into reasons it will be okay." Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That is I mean, that's the curriculum, I think, is reframing is to like, I love the idea that there's this line of souls, of spirits, of entities in another dimension, just like bill billions of them in a line waiting for a chance to be in a human body, have this experience, and have the painful joints, the cancer that they gotta beat, and the love affairs and the heartbreak, and but they're just like, this is a gift, and if you can keep coming to gratitude and keep reframing, it's a very different experience. You know, like, if you load up your backpack and head out in the mountains to have an adventure, there you could get cold, and it can be scary, and there might be and but it's your it can be a life-changing, beautiful thing. If you crash your plane and you're doing the exact same thing, but you feel like you're a victim, so you're the whole experience is different. One, it's just scary and horrible, and you just want it to end, and the other one, you're alive and experiencing all that there is to be a human. I think we need to keep doing that reframe daily. Gearbot says, "I like the metaphor of soccer. When I was a kid playing soccer, I spent more time staring at the sky than the ball." When I was in soccer, I I once was as I was coming to get scored on, and as we were walking back to the center for the kicking the ball to start the next I went put my hand under my arm and smelled my underarm, and somebody on my team was like, "Hey, stop cherry picking." And what he meant was, stop just, like, dawdling and run back to the game. But for years, I thought cherry picking meant sniffing your own armpits. So, I feel you on the not being as focused on the game. Halcyon says, "Joy is a byproduct of a well-applied life, not anything to desire." I like that High Noon says, "I'm grateful for finding and applying for a scholarship to the International Trauma Conference. I love my authentic curiosity. I am a being who wants to create safe spaces." I love that. Uh, Also says, "A friend in Gaza asked me, 'What's the point if all he knows if he and all he knows will die?' I said, 'Each day we must all do the best we can and live it with love and compassion regardless of circumstances.'" Man, I'm working on a book right now, and this is a long story. Well, I'll tell it 'cause I'll tell the short version of it. It's the most significant moment of my life. The short version of the story is I was backpacking through Turkey or through Europe and was in Turkey for 2 months and went to go visit these ruins on the top of a mountain called Nemrut Dagi, and there's these huge, like, 6-foot stone heads up on top of this mountain, and we wanted to go on it was Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, my friend and I wanted to go, and nobody would take us up there because the the tour season was over, it'd been raining, the roads were bad, and we finally found a guy that would do it if we paid him 25 bucks, which at the time was a lot of money, like, we were paying $1 a night for our rooms, so think about that, so, 25 times the cost of a night at a hotel, and so we get up at 4 in the morning, start driving up this mountain, and about 2 hours up the mountain, start to see some snow on the ground, like, little flecks, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be so cool if we get to see these ruins with, like, a little flick of snow on the top, it's gonna be gorgeous." And, like, 15 minutes later, the snow was so deep that our cab got zzz, the wheels are spinning, we got stuck, and we're like and also keep in mind, these ruins are, like, in the middle of Turkey, like, we had to take, like, 4 days of buses and to get even to the closest city, and we're like, "No, we're so close." And we're like, "How much farther is it down this road?" And he goes, "It is about, 4 kilometers." And, like, we're doing the math, like, "We could walk that." So we put on all of our clothes that we owned. This we started backpacking in the summertime. Put on 2 pairs of jeans, put socks in our hands, put a windbreaker, and then our plastic rain poncho on, start trudging up the road. He, like, draws a map in the snow where how much farther, and then we're gonna get to this parking lot, and there's one in the 100-yard meters. And so we start trudging up the snow, and as soon as we gonna go around this one corner, then the wind is whipping, and then the road is, like, icy, and so we're, like, scuttling, it was, like, really hard, and then go around another bend, and the wind stops, and it starts dumping snow, and we're looking back down the road, it's just, like, white as far as you can see our tracks, and I'm born and raised in San Diego. My buddies from Seattle were like, "Don't know much about snow," but we're like, "I think this is really reckless." Like, if we if our trail, if our footsteps get covered in snow, there's no if we get 1 degree off, we will not hit the ca we will not find the car, and the car is, a 2-hour drive from the nearest city if we go in the exact right direction, like, w so but we looked at each other, we're like, "I feel compelled, like, I feel like I have to keep going." He goes, "Me too." So we're scuttling, go around, it's like dumping snow, and it's getting windier and windier. The wind kicks is so windy that my plastic, like, rain poncho gets whipped off me, and just as we're trudging, we finally get there's a point where we're like it's like knee deep as we're getting close to the top. I realize we're not on the path anymore. We go back, back step till we find the path, and as we go over the hood uh, of the peak, and we're on this the flat of the top, it's so fucking windy, we're, like, leaning into it, and boom! Right in front of me is this 5 foot tall stone head covered in, like, an inch of ice. So it was like a crystal head, and it's I mean, it's at some point right about that time, my mind went blank, and I know that we walked around for a bit and we took a few pictures because I have some pictures of me on top of this mountain, leaning into the wind next to this, like, big stone lion head, and but while I was there, my mind was, like, empty in a way that I'd never experienced before or since. Like, I think, like, this is must be what, like, Buddhist monks attain of this just, like, this stillness, and as we started to come down off the mountain, I just had this, like, knowledge, like, something the only, like, legit spiritual download that I think I've ever experienced, or the clearest for sure. Because before the reason that I was traveling is because I was struggling as a young man. I was like, "Why are we here? What's the point? We're all gonna die. At some point, the sun is gonna extinguish this planet. Like, why? What's the fucking why? What's the point?" And as I started coming out down onto this mountain, I had this, like, knowledge, like, knowing that the purpose of being alive is so that you can experience being alive. That's it. Consciousness, the being you're here to experience what it is to so you get a day pass to the zoo. How go to all the exhibits you can. See what enjoy, check it out. That's it. And it wasn't like someone convinced me. It wasn't like I lost an argument or it was just like I just knew. And so my life changed from that moment. I went from asking why to saying, "Yes, I'll try that. Yes, let's look at that. Yes. What's the opportunity? Let's do it." And that path of yes is what steered me to the early internet. It's what steered me to Burning Man. It's what steered me to psychedelics. That mountaintop experience changed my life. Thanks for your patience. Ah. Oh, that's insane that his friend was killed, but we both cared as friends for one another until he was murdered. Ooh. It even it I mean, it just amplifies that the preciousness, the gift of being alive. It's a reminder that it is not forever, and it's not to be taken for granted. Thank you for sharing your truth. Paul says, "I'm grateful to share a breath with you. Breathe." Good morning, Meredith. Just joined. So excited to connect with you soon. So grateful for the energy you're putting out in the world with your broadcast. Thanks, Meredith. Do you hear my mountaintop story I just told? Uh, Christos, good day, good morning. Great to see you. If anyone else has some gratitude to share, I would love to hear it, and I will share it. If you're in YouTube or Facebook, I can pop your gratitude on the screen. If you're in Instagram, I will read it to the class and share. I am grateful for my partner, Lisa. I am so grateful for Ram Dass. I've been listening to him in the mornings, and man, for me, there is no teacher that that soothes and educates and lifts and enlightens me more than Ram Dass. It used to be Alan Watts. Alan Watts used to be my guy, because I was a different person. I mean, Alan Watts also died an alcoholic, and, I think when I was an addict, I responded more to Alan Watts' tone. Now, I don't mean to take anything away from Alan Watts. Alan Watts, I wouldn't be who I am, is is the tits, but Ram Dass is, for me now, a whole other level of beauty and brilliance and humility, uh, embodiment. Ah, thank you, Gerbat. I just, like, was rewriting that story for this book project, and I'm trying to figure out, like, what I would t today, what I wanna write about is, like, I don't want it to sound like you have a spiritual, download to appreciate the other things that I wanna share, like, uh, that yeah, I guess I'll have to articulate it. Halcyon says, "I've been listening for years since your first Caleb ones." Amazing! There's Caleb on the wall right here, and when we close this gathering with a hug, we will invoke him as I do every day. Pierre says, "Grateful for your story this evening. Also super grateful that I took a chance on a scary opportunity and now on the other side of fear and now starting to thrive." Fuck yeah, Pierre. Pierre, you are part of my day every day. Pierre, one of the many incredible talents and skills and things that he does in the world. He designed a piece of light art that's LED patterns and colors, and it's I keep it on all the time next to my bed, so as I walk through the house, I see it all the time, and every once in a while, I'll be like, "Lisa, Lisa, this is my favorite color scheme. This is my favorite one." Uh, Christo says, "I'm doing a lot of things these days, but I think about you sometimes. You are unique." Thank you. It's funny, I had a weird, like, wobble reading that because the lecture of Ram Dass I listened to this morning was all about the human desire to be somebody, like, I it feels good to hear that I am unique, I'm special, but this there a spiritual path is also about letting go of the need to be special. I'm less attached to it than I used to be, but not totally unattached. Pierre says, "Yes, bringing light into the world. Couldn't ask for more. Thank you for bringing light into my world." Excuse me. I love your hanging plant wants to get closer to Grandpa Caleb as well. It's this is all my loved ones all together. I'm grateful for those who are fighting with knowledge and love, kindness to heal the world's deep trauma. Thank you, John, and each and one of you here for listening. I am honored and grateful and proud to be gym buddies with you in this curriculum, in this classroom. I appreciate these reminders of all the beautiful moments and beautiful things and reframes and the ways to really appreciate this incredible gift of being conscious in human bodies on a fertile planet filled with sensory abilities and taste buds, and what a what an incredible way to spend a few decades, conscious human being on a planet that plants have fruit dropping from them. Wowee. Halcyon says, "Use process thinking and an OODA model to get through any trauma and moral injury. What I use in counseling others." Unfamiliar with it. I will have a look, thank you. Krista says, "You will be my friend forever." Krista, where are you right now? I think of you, uh, periodically, and what a special being and a special creative spark you are and were, and when we connected through digital ways, what a just a beautiful example of how people can inspire each other through these digital tools, and that inspiration is profound and real. Alson is in New Orleans, awesome. I'm in San Diego. Uh, I'll have a hug in a moment. I think Christos is in Greece, but it doesn't matter because we're the whole point of Hug Nation is it doesn't matter where your feet are, it matters where your heart is, and we are sharing this moment. We are sharing this experience. So before we go off into our day, let's connect. So give yourself a hug and imagine that you are holding me and all those that are here, that we are sinking into a shared moment, letting our specialness fade away for a moment, just sinking into a collective we, a collective energetic humanness, recognizing our frailty and our struggles, as well as our codependence and our relationships, just feeling gratitude for the opportunity to have these feelings and moments, feeling gratitude for having fellow participants and partners and gym buddies to laugh and to support, to spot each other along the way. Let's take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Greg Caleb and all of us here, thanks for being here, Nation Live, being a part of this beautiful ride. I love you. Paul's in Shingle Springs, California. Hello, Laura. Laura says, "I may have to watch the rerun." You know what? I don't mean to, you know, talk out of turn, but I think today was a really good broadcast. It could have been that I had 2 cups of coffee, but I really enjoyed myself. Thanks y'all for being here. Love you. See you tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, I will be offline through the weekend. I'll be on a trip, but I'll be here tomorrow. And Gratitude in Zoom, should be there today if you wanna have a Zoom gratitude at noon Pacific time. You can find links to everything at lifestudent.com.